Hey everyone, my name is Wedge. In case you didn't know, last week was Worlds Week, which wrapped up on Sunday with the finals of the World Championship and the World Magic Cup. The Cup was a team event divided between Tarkir Team Sealed and a format called Unified Standard. The idea of Unified Standard is that it's basically standard, but 3 players play on a team and the 4 of rule applies across all 3 of their decks. For example, teammate playing Obzan, you probably can't also play Obzan because if he's running 4 Siege Rhinos, then you can't run any. Basically, it's a format that rewards the team with a diverse set of skills and playstyle preferences. The Danish team won the Cup. Simon Nielsen, playing Obzan Whip, took the final game after playing a Doom Blast that would become known as the Dane Blast. His teammates were Martin Muller with Mardu Midrange and Thomas Enevoldsen playing Blue-Black Control. They defeated the Greek team to win the Cup. On the Greek team, Socrates Rosicaius faced down Muller in the AC with a Mardu midrange deck of his own. Bill Chronopoulos played Teamer midrange against Enevoldsen in the B seed, and Panagiotis Savidis took the C seed with Sidisi Whip against Nielsen. While Unified Standard is an interesting format to be sure, the constraints of the format make its deck list significantly less applicable than normal Standard. Beyond which point going through even 2 teams would mean 6 decks, which we don't have nearly enough time for. With that said, let's move right along to the World Championship. In contrast to the Cup, the Championship is an individual event. Invitations were extended to the 24 top players in the world, so prepare to see some big names in this top 8. Now, due to the small player pool, rather than the traditional top 8 cut, this tournament cut to top 4. However, we'll be looking at the top 8 decks because that's what we do. So without further ado, this year's Magic World Champion is Shahar Shenhar. This makes him the first to win the championship twice, let alone winning it consecutively. He won the title this time playing Sidisi Whip. This whip deck was slightly unusual for its additional inclusion of Ashiok Nightmare Weaver. I told all of you, I knew this card was the bomb, okay. However, in a field full of mid-range, the blue-black walker does make a good deal of sense. You can steal your opponent's big creatures or just use the mill to mess with Corsair. Ashiok also does work in the mirror match, depriving the opponent of reanimation targets. Beyond that, it was pretty much business as usual for Whip, riding to victory on the back of Hornet Queens and the ever-present one of Soul of Innistrad. Taking second place was Patrick Chapin running Obzan midrange. His deck was a more traditional midrange list, rather than the more aggressive list that we've seen some of lately. Still, Sylvan Caryatid enables the frankly terrifying turn 3 Siege Rhino play. Bramaz, King of Oreskos, also features as a natural 3-drop, so the deck isn't totally devoid of aggression when it needs to push the early game. That situation came up in the top 4 with Chapin's consecutive matches against Sidisi Whip decks. A quick start was necessary to outrace death-touching tokens from Hornet Queen and after sideboard Farika as well. Yuya Watanabe took 3rd place with a deck that's enjoyed a lot of popularity recently, particularly in this World Championship. That deck is Jeskai Tokens. Basically, somebody took another look at Jeskai Ascendancy and then realized that it plays very well with token-generating cards like Hordeling Outburst and Raise the Alarm. Throw in the fact that Goblin Rabbimaster is already one of the premier cards in Standard and you're already halfway to a deck. Throw in Stoke the Flames and you've got a deck and a half. Here's something fun. Have 4 tokens and a Jeskai Ascendancy out. Tap all your tokens to convoke Stoke the Flames. Jeskai Ascendancy triggers, untaps all your tokens, gives them all +1/+1, and on top of that lets you loot. While that wasn't enough to overcome Sidisi Whip in the semifinals, it's still a solid deck with lots of cool synergies that we definitely look forward to seeing more of. Kentaro Yamamoto finished 4th with another Sidisi Whip deck. His altered a few numbers compared to what we're used to. 2 Soul of Innistrad make an appearance instead of just 1. He also fits a single Reclamation Sage into the main deck. Consider Blue-White Heroic, Black-Green Constellation, the ubiquitous Corsair Crewfix, and even the mirror match with opposing whips. Suddenly this seems like a really good idea. Also unique to this deck is a full set of Reaper of the Wilds on sideboard. With 5 toughness and the ability to gain hexproof for 2 mana, the Reaper is very hard to remove for a lot of decks. In 5th place, we have Sean McLaren running another Obzan midrange list. This one made some interesting card choices and generally played a slightly longer game than its peers. Nissa Worldwaker turns your excess lands into a steady stream of 4/4 bodies to throw at people's faces in the path of wayward attackers and so on. Like you do. A 1 of Doomblast in the main deck gives the strategy a better late game option against the likes of Sidisi Whip, Constellation, and others that use Horniqueen. You can take out a whole field of chump blockers and nasty death touch things and still push through with your Rhino or Elemental or whatever it is you have on hand. Yuki Ichikawa came in 6th place with Obzan Whip. This deck plays somewhat like Obzan midrange, but with less removal and more Whip of Erebos, as the name implies. There are also many more creatures in this deck. You have the obligatory Forsator Wayfinder to feed your Whip, Horniqueens because there are a few better things to whip back, and Siege Rhino because what kind of Obzan deck would you be without it? Wingmate Rock puts in an appearance because it's also a solid whip target, especially if you're on the offensive or have a spare Wayfinder to throw at somebody's face. Yvonne Flock placed 7th with, what else? Blue-Black Control. Yes, it's quite well known now that Flock is a control player through and through, and Blue-Black is the current variation on the theme. We've seen it pop up here and there in Standard, but this is certainly its highest profile finish to date. Without White Friend hostilities, the only sweeper the deck has access to is Perilous Vault. It's fortunate then that there are relatively few decks that can really overwhelm the board before the Vault is ready to fire. Not coincidentally, the only other permanent this deck runs is Pearl Lake Ancient, which doesn't come down until everything else is dealt with. Beyond that, Dissolve, Hero's Downfall, and Draw spells are absolute musts. Jace's Ingenuity and Dig Through Time are key here for picking up answers as the game goes on. Rounding out our top 8 is William Jensen with Black-Green Constellation. This deck picks up a few tricks from Whip decks. After all, Whip of Erebos being an enchantment, it triggers Eidolon of Blossoms just fine. That's the other big thing that differentiates this deck from other Whip decks. Eidolon of Blossoms lets you draw your way out of corners. The increased emphasis on green also enables Nykthos, letting you hardcast Horniqueen a bit more often. That devotion also enables Farika to be a bigger player in the main deck, appearing as a 2 of. That wraps up our look at the top 8 from the World Championship. These were some really exciting matches, and I highly recommend looking up the footage on the official Magic channel. But as for next week, we'll be back with the STG Invitational, or maybe Grand Prix Milan. As always, subscribe below for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Manosaurus, I'm Wedge, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time. What?